9 o'clock. I'm going to unmute.
Call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning, all of you out there.
Gentlemen, I'm looking for approval of the county board minutes. Motion by Commissioner Wincher, seconded by Commissioner Wilson to approve the county board minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion prevails. The agenda is Tabitha, any additions or deletions? Gentlemen, motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Jelinski, seconded by
Second.
Commissioner Wincher. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion prevails. First thing on the agenda, employee recognition. Mr. LeBlanc.
Health and Human Services.
Good morning. I'm going to do this and have the supervisors come and introduce some new staff. So we're trying to catch up a little bit on some of the new staff that have been hired. So I'm going to have Cindy come up and introduce her two staff first.
Good morning.
Good morning, Cindy.
We have two new staff this morning. We have Kayla Bridges. Kayla is a nurse. She started at the end of November, and she's working in our family home visiting program, so she's seeing our moms and babies. Good. And she comes to us with a background in long-term care, so she's learning a lot, and she's doing an awesome job. And Janelle Bolig. Janelle is a social worker. She came to us from LSS with a long history in working with children, and so she's learning the over 65 world, managing as a case manager on our case management team. And she's been here about 4 weeks, so welcome to both of them.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome
Yes,
aboard.
good morning. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
So those are those
Thank
two.
you. I was going to say, Mike, now you got somebody to help you over 65.
Flashing red now. I'll have Melanie come up now. Maybe she'll just stand closer to the microphone here.
That'd be fine.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning, Melanie.
This is Shannon Sanders, and we're happy to have her with us. She is doing children's mental health case management and adult mental health case management. She's in that combined role between the adult mental health and the children's mental health unit. She comes with great experience from the state and also school-based mental health, and so we are very happy to have her with us.
Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will ask Teresa to come up and introduce a new office support person.
Hello, Teresa.
Good morning, Teresa.
Morning, Teresa.
I'd like you to meet Audi Karst. Audi's first name is really spelled A-U-R-I, but as she told us in the interview, it's like the car, Audi. Yes, so Audi is our newest office support specialist in the health and human services world. We are very excited to have her join us. Audi is a native of Mexico, and English is actually her second language. So we are all going to learn Spanish. All right.
Good. Very good. No problem with that. Love it.
So Audi, this is her second week, and she did come back.
And she did come
Friday
back.
when people leave, it's like, oh, are you coming back next week? And so she's
Welcome
here.
aboard.
Yeah, welcome.
Absolutely. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Wonderful day.
Those are the new staff I have today. Next meeting, I'll bring a couple more. So
Excellent.
thanks.
Excellent.
Thank you,
you,
Brad.
Brad. So, next on the agenda, the Little Falls Airport. Good morning, Mr. Kimmen.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Morning, Greg.
Morning, Greg. So in front of you this morning, we have another grant from the FAA. So if you recall, there was stimulus money that got put to the FAA that gets trickled down to the airports. We're a general aviation airport in Little Falls, Morrison County. And so our portion of it is $32,000 grant. It is a 100% grant. So this morning, we're asking the board to approve the grant and to execute the agreement so we can get the $32,000 grant.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Lemire, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? Commissioner Winchester.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Greg, does this have to be appropriated to certain things out at the airport?
No, it would be for operations out there, additional cleaning and that type of stuff. But as you know, with the cities and the county's contribution, we have more than that portion of it, so we will have that definitely covered.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jelinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Greg, I just have a pretty broad question. Why are you here today? Why are we doing what we're doing? I'm supporting this, so don't misunderstand. But why is the county involved?
So Morrison County and the city of Little Falls jointly own the airport. It's a 50% partnership out there, and so whenever we get grants or anything like that, both the county and the city execute agreements and contracts for the airport.
Exactly what I was looking to hear.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion prevails. Thank you, Mr. Kimmen.
Have a good day, Greg.
I will, you too, thanks.
You bet. Keep smiling.
Sheriff Larson.
Good morning, Sheriff.
Mr. Chair, members of the board.
Good morning, Sheriff.
See you, Greg.
So I'm here today to go over a para police officer declaration resolution. We previously discussed this, and I was working with HR that we should wait till there's a formal offer out. We did make a formal offer for the jail administrator position. It was accepted by Tony Ottman. Tony Ottman's got 26 years of law enforcement experience. He was working for the St. Cloud Police Department. He started his career back in 1996 with the Morrison County Sheriff's Office. So his start date is going to be Monday, February 14th, so we're pretty excited. So with that, if the board wants me to go over the resolution and or read it, just let me know, and we'll go from there.
I don't need you to.
You don't need to read it for me.
Okay.
But
You don't need to read it for me, Sheriff. I'm good with that.
So we're looking for a motion and a second on,
I'll make a motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
so there's a motion by Commissioner Lemire and a second by Commissioner Jelinski. Is there further discussion in support of this resolution? Gentlemen, this will be a roll call vote. Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Commissioner Lemire? Commissioner Winchester? Commissioner Jelinski?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. This motion prevails.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Sheriff, have a good day. No matter what happens, keep smiling.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Jenny Sanders, good morning. We're having the recorder give a report this morning.
Yes, good morning, Chair, members of the board.
Jenny, good morning.
Hi.
Morning, Jenny.
Good morning. I'll be short and sweet. I'm in front of you to ask you to accept my letter as a written notice of filing for a term as a Morrison County Recorder pursuant to the new Minnesota statute as of 2022. Thank you.
I don't think do we need to file it or anything? Just, okay.
Gentlemen, do you have any comments for, we don't get to see Ms. Sanders very often in front of this board. I'll give you the opportunity for any dialogue.
How's everything going with you, Jenny?
Actually, really good, fabulous. I have a good team with me as well.
Super. Commissioner Jelinski.
You know, Commissioner Lemire pretty much took the words right out of my mouth.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It hasn't been all that long since you arrived in the seat that you're
Right.
sitting in, if you will.
Right.
And my question would have been the same thing. How really is it going?
It is
you know?
going well.
And I'll be very honest with you, Mr. Chair, I'm happy to hear that.
Yes.
And that's a good thing, so yes. Very good.
And gentlemen, I'll just address Jenny in the fact that I think it's fantastic that you're willing to put your name on the ballot in November with the desire to keep leading the Recorder's Office in Morrison County, and been there a long time. And your work ethic and your expertise are key to success in that department within the county. So we're very happy to see this letter and your intent.
I appreciate that, thank you.
With that,
Good luck on your campaign.
You know, Mr. Chair, if I may, just one more. I really don't remember any, do you have to do this the first time, or do you have to do this every time?
It's my understanding that the statute just came out January 2022. It's something very new.
Oh, excellent.
Before every election, I believe. You have to do that.
Now,
Now.
with the new wording that was developed, or has it
Yeah,
always been?
It has to do with the appointing election, how you want your
row officers.
row officers to do. So I assume if she didn't put her name in the hat, that we could decide appointing someone or
Yeah. I do have a
Something
copy
like
of the
that.
statute if you'd like it. We're
Good, no, good with me.
Mr. Chair, I believe, didn't our county auditor have to do the same thing?
Yes, she did.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know, so
Yes.
that, like that you said, it's a new statute that came out.
Correct.
And I think the as I understand the statute, this gives the board the opportunity to seek that adjustment, and that they're not blindsided by not having a row officer elected. And so this kind of gives protection to both the board and certainly gives direction by that current officer. So we're glad you're here this morning, and we're hoping that it isn't just every 4 years that we get to see you here in the boardroom. But we don't need to take action on this. So we will say thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, you as well.
Thank you.
We'll move on, gentlemen, to the Health and Human Services report. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning,
And
Commissioners.
good morning.
Morning, Karen.
Good morning, Karen.
Morning, Brad.
So the first thing we have on our agenda today is one of those, I think, critical programs that we like to share with the community, and that's the Energy Assistance Program. And we're getting closer to the end of our heating system, or heating year, and want to make sure people are aware that this is available if they're challenged with income. So Karen, if you want to go ahead and share.
Okay. Energy Assistance Program is handled by Tri-County CAP in Wade Park for Morrison County. And primary heat is one of them that they offer. They offer primary heat, energy-related repair, and the crisis program. Primary heat, we're just giving you examples here. Benton, Morrison, Sherburne, and Stearns. How many people have used it and the amounts by population? The heat includes if you pay electric heat, gas, propane, oil, and wood. Now, the grant is calculated on the consumption and the household income. So it goes by both. So if someone has very low income and very high consumption, they may see a higher grant than someone else with the same income. Maximum grant you can get for energy primary heat is $1,400 for the year. Now, if you've used that, you can turn around. If you still need more, you can apply for the crisis program. Energy-related repair is a good program also. If a furnace breaks down, you can call TRICAP. They'll send someone out. If the furnace is repairable, they'll repair it. If it's not, they'll tell you to get 2 estimates to replace it.
Mr. Chair, Karen, can I ask you a question?
Sure. Commissioner Jelinski.
Is this how do I really want to come out and just say it? I'll just say it. Is this free money for those that qualify? When I say free money, do they have to pay it back?
No, they don't have to pay it back. It goes by your income.
Yep, and I'm fine with that.
Yep.
But here you are. Very
Yep.
good. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
It helps a lot of elderly and
Without a
disabled
doubt.
people.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's a good program. And there again, we gave you the amounts that we've used. Now, keep in mind, this is only from October to January. This program ends May 31st. So this isn't all the months. There's still more after. This is just for a short period. And then the crisis program. Crisis can be used for, well, if you've already used all of your primary and you have no money to do a fill, as we know, propane can cost you quite a bit to fill. So you can apply for the crisis program for another fill. They'll do the minimum. They can apply for a shut-off. As long as the electric runs the furnace, they will do electric shut-offs, as long as it pertains to heat. Any questions?
Gentlemen,
Is there a
anything?
phone number that they could call, or do you have that available, or is there something they can look?
They can go right to TRICAP, Energy Assistance online. Their application is available online also. They can call us, we'll give them the
And
number.
I know a couple seniors that may qualify for this, but they don't have the internet, they don't have, see, that's my point, they'd have to call.
Oh, have them call our office. We'll send them an app. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have to go to Wade Park to apply. It can all be done over the, through the mail.
Yep.
Working with the telephone, using the telephone. So they're not required to go to Wade Park to apply. So, and there is still money available. So as we know, heating prices are a little higher this year than they've been before. And so if individuals are struggling and have a meet income guidelines.
Excellent program.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And as she said earlier on, for wood as well, you know, some people do burn with wood and maybe don't realize that this could help them purchase some wood.
Any questions?
Thank you for being here this
Thank
morning.
you, Karen.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Karen.
All right, next on the agenda is to approve 2 tobacco renewal licenses for Midwest Investments and Lincoln Gas and Bait.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jelinski, a second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion prevails. Next,
Thank you.
Brad.
The next thing I have is a contract for backup services for food, beverage, and lodging with Mark Anderson. Most of you know Mark Anderson. He is an environmental, or is a sanitarian in our community, and he has provided backup services for our agency for a number of years. We've not needed him, but we have it and are required to have it. We had to update this contract as we reviewed our contracts to make sure that if we have an issue with Todd County, that he assists us with that since we are contracting with Todd County. So the rate's the same. Basically, we just added Todd County to the contract.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Wilson, a second by Commissioner Wincher to appoint Mark Anderson in that backup role. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion prevails.
Thank you. The next thing I have on the agenda is we have 2 retirements in our agency. It's amazing how we're all getting older, but I guess that does happen. First one is a social worker in children's mental health, and that is a person who provides case management to children and families who are experiencing mental health challenges. Our caseloads are such that we are not able to go without this position. They are all over the statutory required FTEs. The other one is a case aide in long-term care, and this is a position that assists the case managers in entering clients into our PHDoc and waiver systems to ensure that we get billing and support the nurses in their work with both long-term care and home visiting. So I'm requesting to replace these 2 positions and backfill any that may come as a result of a change in duties.
Brad, just for clarification, you know, we started off this morning with recognizing some new employees into what I would say similar roles here this morning. Those employees we recognized this morning were filling voids that had taken place previous.
Correct.
In the future, we'll be seeing new employees come in to fill these retirements.
That is correct, yep.
Wishes of the board.
Mr. Chair, I have a.
Commissioner Wincher.
Thank you. That second one is not part of our criteria on here. I didn't see the second, because.
The case aide position?
Yeah, that was not on here. I'm missing it. It was not part of the action. Because it goes from the one into back into land services.
They're both on the same RBA.
Oh.
They're both on the same RBA, and they are, the documents in terms of the request to hire information are after that RBA.
On the brief description, that sentence, it spells that out.
Yeah, 'cause I see it says approved replacing a social worker.
Yep.
In children's mental health.
And if, go a little
It
further,
doesn't say and, it says in children's mental health and case aid and long.
and case aid.
Oh, well, okay.
Make a motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lemire
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Jelinski to approve these two positions. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Commissioner Winter,
No, I'm good.
you're clear?
I'm good.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion prevails.
Thank you. And then just a brief update on COVID. We are down, well, interesting I say that, we are down to 374 cases in the last 14 days. That is a significant decrease from a week ago. We are down about 122 cases from a week ago. So in that 14-day case rate, down to 110. And we had a conversation, last week as we were up to almost 600 cases in a 14-day period. What would it have been like a year ago if we would have had that? I mean, we would have been, I think, in a lot more tenuous position, but it just seems like schools are doing better. Long-term care facilities are doing better. There's a lot of people testing positive, but they're feeling better, or not experiencing as significant of symptoms. So hospitalizations are starting to drop a little bit. We had 6 deaths in January, and that was down from double digits in November and December. And currently we are at 2 deaths in February. So even though we're still at a high case rate relative to a year ago, I think the impression is that it's a little bit better because hospitalizations and deaths are decreasing. So hopefully people continue to take care of themselves, test, mask when necessary. And just one other comment I might make, even though we have 374 cases listed on our line list, there's probably a significant number more who are positive but did at-home tests and are just staying home, which is okay too, because that's what we want them to do. So,
Commissioner Winter.
Thank you. Again, this always, people ask occasionally, they can't determine what type of COVID it is, do they? I mean, that's the big thing, is that the first one, is that kind of gone through the country and now it's the second one, or is it still?
yeah, when they test positive, they're not doing a sample of every test that is positive as to what variant it is. I think we're saying most currently are probably the Omicron variant, which again seems to be a little bit less in terms of symptoms that people are experiencing. But for us to say everybody has Omicron or Delta or traditional or the first COVID, it's hard to say. They are just taking a portion of those tests, taking a look at what variant they have and making statistical decisions based on that data.
Thank you.
Further comments? Brad, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, Brad.
Next on the agenda, Health and Human Land Services. Amy, I'm sorry.
Good morning, Amy.
Morning, Miss Amy.
All right. So you get me instead of Jean today. So I've got one item in your packet, and then I've just got a couple other quick things that I want to go through after that.
Fantastic.
The first thing that was in your packet was the request to request approval of the attached abstract of abatements that is in your packet. These are all related to some sort of natural peril, fire, wind, ice, flooding. So these are circling back and adjusting those taxes due to that damage.
Make a motion on that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wilson to approve the abatements. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jelinski. Further discussion. Further discussion. Further discussion. If not, this is a roll call. Commissioner Lemire.
Aye.
Commissioner Wincher.
Aye.
Commissioner Jelinski.
Aye.
The chairman votes aye. Commissioner Wilson. All those voting aye, the motion carries.
All right, thank you. The next item I have, just since we're talking about abatements, is really just for your information. As you know, I've brought the abatements that have been done on state-assessed property before. We've had a few with the railroad and with some power companies. We had another one just come through that the board doesn't need to act on that. It's just really more for your information that Northern Natural Gas had a tax court judgment with the state. We have 19 parcels in Morrison County, and so and this was for over a 2-year tax period for years 17 and 18. We have an abatement of $73,910, and then there will also be some interest tacked onto that as well. Nothing we can do. That's a settlement in tax court with the state, but just always want to make you aware of those things when they come through and what that means for us.
So, if I may ask the question,
Yes.
so
Yes.
when there is a ruling by the state court in this manner on an abatement, so when is that tax correction or that fiscal correction made to the affected properties?
Yep. Generally, so once we have this tax court judgment, we receive notice of that, and then that goes over to the auditor treasurer's office to process. And so, and that's a better question for Chelsea as far as how they handle that, as far as whether it's just a credit for the upcoming taxes or if it is in the form of an actual refund check. So that is an auditor treasurer function, and they handle how they process those and credit those.
Well, we'll get to see Ms. Robinson a little bit later in the morning. We'll bring that up. We'll bring that up to her.
Yeah, and she's aware of this settlement as well, so she can certainly answer that part of that question for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Please continue.
Yep, and then the last item I have is we do need to set our County Board of Appeal and Equalization date. As you know, that is always in June. We are looking at either Monday, the 13th, or Tuesday, the 14th of June at 5 p.m.
Mr. Chair, the 14th of June at 6 o'clock, there's a scheduled Planning Commission Board of Adjustment, so that probably isn't necessarily a great time.
Yep. Thank you for noticing that.
The dates under consideration?
13 and 14.
The 13th or the 14th, and it sounds like the 14th will have a conflict in this room.
We will.
13th works for me.
13th works.
13th will work for me.
Right?
June 13th, yes.
Time?
5 p.m., 5 o'clock p.m.
Was
I
that-
don't mean to put, but we have District 5 meeting.
Board of Equalization.
We do one. Way to go. I don't have that.
Send us a calendar event?
Say it again?
Can you send us a
District 5 is usually in the
calendar
I
event?
absolutely can do
You know how to
that.
do that? Or you need me to
I
tell
do
you
know how to do that,
Usually
yeah.
morning till noon.
Commissioner Wincher,
Mike knows how to do it.
are we here, you're saying there's a district meeting that day? That would be in the morning?
It's in the right county, so yeah, 'cause we, us commissioners all need, or don't need, or asked to go to that meeting, so, but I'm good, because this is.
A 5 p.m. meeting would work on the
So
13th?
5 p.m. on June 13th,
Perfect. Thank you.
equalization.
Board of Appeal and Equalization, and I will send a calendar appointment to you, and then Tabitha will make sure it's on the commissioner's calendar and reserve the room.
That will be in this room.
Yes, it will be. And that is all I have for you, Mr. Chair.
Amy, we wish you a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
5 o'clock.
Good morning, Amy. We're glad you're here with the IT report.
Good morning, Miss Amy.
Morning, everyone. So I'm here today to just do a little recap of 2021 and what IT did for the organization. I do this about once a year to kind of just report to you what goals we had last year, how did we achieve some of those goals, and then what are our goals for 2022. So I'll get into that. So for 2021, we had the goals set last year when I was here of doing more IT assessments, looking at our project management and project process improvements, and then a goal or more of a motto of simplify, standardize, and automate. So those were the things that we tried to keep at the front of our mind every time we dealt with departments. So I just wanted to go over those goals and what we did to achieve those goals over the year. The first one was assessments. So we wanted to assess the processes and procedures and tasks that we do within IT, and then how do we measure those standards against cybersecurity workload efficiencies and compliancy. So we did have a little jump start on this goal because we had a couple of audits conducted this year that are triennial audits, which is every 3 years. So we happened to hit that third year. My first time going through the audits as the IT director, so it was a very interesting year for me. So that helped us do some further assessments. We also were able to get on the DHS, or Department of Homeland Security's assessment plan. They do free assessments for government agencies. So we did that assessment along with Chelsea, I think we've mentioned it, in October, and actually February 22nd, we will be doing a closed session with you guys, and DHS will be here to cover that assessment. Due to the nature of the security, we will not discuss it today. The other goals that we had was the project management and project process improvement. This was to standardize within IT some of the ways we handle projects that come in so we can make sure we're available to departments and don't overpromise things, and make sure people understand where we're at. So we've been slowly working on this. It's mainly just an internal process that we've been developing, and I just recently shared some plans with Matt, but they're not fully completed. So once they're fully completed, you'll see the full plan. A couple of large projects we did in 2021, I just wanted to update you because they were very impactful to the organization, and my team did lead most of these projects. So I felt like it was a good time to kind of give them a little bragging rights. The application extender upgrade, that is our organizational electronic document management system that's been needing to get upgraded for about 3 years, and they completed that this past year with a vendor. That impacted the whole organization. That's including training them, getting everyone, accustomed to the changes that come along with a software upgrade. And I feel like that was a successful upgrade. The phone upgrade, if you recall, last spring I came here and we had some phone upgrades and licensing that needed to be addressed after having our system in for 5 years. Again, it was one of those brand new things that we had. And after all was said and done, we had really no issues after the phone upgrade was completed. The HRIS rollout, that again was a large project, and we did get it rolled out within our time frame. And then there's continuing small projects within that. But the primary project of payroll was completed. The UPS replacement, which is the uninterruptible power supply for our main data hub, that pretty much runs all the servers and the software in the organization to make everybody work. Took a lot of coordinated efforts, especially with the sheriff's office, due to it being a weekend project and having an electrician available on the weekend and all of these things. My staff was able to get that accomplished with very minimal downtime to the public. So I think that was a really, really big project that a lot of people don't see. So I think they did a great job. VPN replacement, we had to, due to some of the audits, update the VPN a little sooner than we wanted to, but we did successfully do that, and I wanted to call that one out because of the supply shortage. We had some compliance reasons to get that completed, so I thank you, board, for allowing us to get that. However, with the supply shortages, we ordered it in July and we weren't able to accomplish till December. So that's just a little bit of the impact that the supply shortage had on us. And then last but not least, something that's very visible to people is the visitor kiosk that's now in Health and Human Services. That was something one of my staff team members led along with Teresa. So, the last thing that my staff reminded me that I did not mention in here was that we did a lot of upfront work with the vaccine clinics and assisting to get a lot of that process automated for them in the beginning stages, the appointments and some of the documentation and things like that. So, and how to handle all of those fun things that come along with requirements with a clinic. Our third goal was the simplify, standardize, and automate. So we have tools currently that we can use, so we reviewed them to see if we could fully use them or automate or standardize things more efficiently. We were able to do that, and due to that, I know the last time I think I was here, you approved my replacement position, which I was then able to change some of their duties due to some of this automation and standardization that we've implemented this past year. So we've reduced device rollouts from roughly 8 hours from PC arriving at our office to a person's hands to be usable, from about 8 hours to about 1 to 2 hours, assuming everything goes well. So those are the things that we're trying to achieve in IT for the organization. That's an example of an internal process, but if we can help departments, reduce time with automation and standardization, we're all about it. I don't have my coffee here, but. So the next slide is just a recap of the functions of IT. I typically just remind you, we're here for the organization. The help desk is the primary use of the IT department. Any question, any issue, any change, anything new pretty much comes through our help desk. We are looking at how can we utilize our help desk to track requests a little bit better, and then I can report to you, board, what areas we're really seeing a lot of impact on, and that could translate into budgeting dollars down the road. So we're working on how to categorize all the tickets coming in. The third function of IT is cybersecurity. A couple of us kind of watch the cybersecurity, what's going on, what's going to impact us, what do we need to watch for, what's happening right this moment that could happen to us, and then what training do we need to provide our employees to make sure they're prepared for the risks that are out there. And then lastly is our network and support system that supports the organization. So the help desk report, I just did a quick little analysis over the last 3 years. So this, in 2021, we reported a total of 3,603 tickets. This does not reflect any walk-ins, call-ins, or direct emails to staff, and it does not reflect project help tickets. So those are things that we're going to work on this year. So this is really reflective of just troubleshooting type of tickets, frontline tickets, things like that, orders, and things like that nature. So I felt that we are kind of, after looking at this, kind of getting back to the normal ticket range. We had a little spike for some reason in the early second quarter. We were trying to recall if that's maybe when staff was coming back in to the office. We're not really sure. So we did have a little spike. Next one just kind of shows you of those tickets, how many are still open. We have 30 that are still in progress, so they could be tickets that were entered right at the end of the month or something of December that are still open, or they're just long-term projects that we're waiting on, like laptops or something like that. We've been waiting on them for about 6-7 months now, so those tickets stay open. Then our next function is the cybersecurity. We do invest budget dollars into our cybersecurity, into the gateway protection and the EDR, which is our endpoint detection and response tool. So with these tools, this is how we get notified if there is something that's potentially malicious on our systems. So we get an automated email, and then those emails we then investigate to see if there's a security incident to follow up with. Also for cybersecurity at no cost, we do a lot of information sharing through the Minute Security Operations Center, through the Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center, and then the National Association of Counties, and then the Minnesota County of IT Leaders Association. So all of these have distribution lists, and daily, multiple times a day, we're getting emails from all of these places saying, hey, we just found this threat, please block. Hey, we found this, please block. Hey, check if your system received this email. So I'm sure some of you have seen those emails from me like, hey, I just saw that you got an email from so-and-so and we were told don't click, and things like that. That's how we get notified of all of these things. And if we notice anything, we share out to these groups. So. The other cybersecurity investment we have here at the county is Securing the Human training, which is our Know Before platform. This is how we train employees and staff on how to be cautious and find those red flags, so they don't invite an incident into the organization, but some of them are very tricky. So this little snapshot is from our Know Before platform. We have dropped 10 points from last year, which means we're getting better. So we moved out of the orange from last year of a risk as an organization into the yellow. So we're getting better and better every year. So that's a good thing. We want to get to that green is the final goal. So. And then our last function is our network and systems, keeping our network and systems up to date and keeping them as clean as can be, and the uptime up over 95% is the goal. The network health score, I said, is just under my favorable score. It's just under 90%. 90% and higher is favorable. And I looked over the report. The primary reason we're just under favorable is due to our storage becoming full. All the data that we ingest from everybody in the county goes into one storage area, and it's causing our servers to be full. So you'll see later that that is actually a project on our list for this year, because we identified it a couple years ago. So that should go up next year. Other accomplishments, I like to just take this time again to kind of inform you what we've been doing to keep updated and trained. This past year, some good things do come out of COVID. 3 of the staff were able to attend our CASEA conference. So CASEA is a primary tool that we use for our help desk and for automating things. We've never been able to attend the CASEA conference because it's always in Las Vegas in person. So this year it was virtual. And then they also offered 50% off of all of our tickets, and it included certification on their system. So 3 of us attended that, and we all 3 did receive the certification. It was a very intense training, so now we can start utilizing the tools that we currently have in the county. And then I attended the MNCTLA, the IT Symposium, the AMC, and the MCCC conferences. 2 of those were virtual and 2 of those were in person, so that was kind of nice to get out and do some more networking. The highlight I saw around most of these conferences was discussions around cybersecurity insurance. So those are some of the things that, you know, will be ticket items over the year that we'll be talking about, and just ensuring that our insurance is where we want it to be as an organization. So I think it was AMC when I attended there. MCIT did a very good presentation on that material. Another great rollout was the MFA, the multi-factor authentication, which does just add another layer of security at no cost to the agency. It's just a little bit more people time. And the last little highlight I wanted to note, because I know it came to the board, was we rolled out a little SMS tool called Tango. I don't know if you remember that conversation. It was just an enterprise way of staff to communicate with clients. Typically, it's people with dedicated clients like social workers or probation officers and things like that. We initially purchased with Health and Human Services 25 licenses, and all 25 licenses are being utilized. And we implemented that in mid-August. And to date, we've had over 6,000 messages shared between clients and staff members. So just so you know that that tool is being utilized a lot. So I think it was a great tool to have and include into our enterprise. So now for 2022, what are we gonna do? So for 2022, our biggest goal is the IT cybersecurity expansion program. Again, we'll talk more about that and what does that mean and look like as an organization, and get some input from you guys on February 22nd on what you would like to see. So little preview for you to start thinking. And then expand of course, expand it based on the DHS assessment that we had. The other goal is to continue with the simplify, standardize, and automate. Again, this is becoming more of a model than a goal. It's just going to become the norm, so eventually that'll kind of drop off as a goal. Every time I meet with a department, they got some idea. It's like, how can we standardize this? Can we automate it or can we not? So those are some of the questions I start asking. And then my last goal is to continue on the project management and project process improvement so we can create more transparency to the leadership, including yourselves, so you kind of understand as an organization where are we at, what things are coming, what's coming down the pipe, what's coming up next year, you know, what impact is that going to have on me, what impact is that going to have on the budget, what impact is that going to have on the organization. So those are some goals, and then I just threw on there the storage upgrade is a goal to accomplish by the end of the year. Due to that network health being a little under favorable percentage. So that's my quick recap of 2021, and I'll open the floor to you guys.
Commissioner Wilson.
I just want to thank you for all the work you guys do. Technology is a big thing, and I know cybersecurity is a thing you've been working on an awful lot, so I want to thank you just for all the stuff you guys have been doing and keep us on track and keep us safe, I guess.
That is what we're trying to do. I try to relate to people that we are like law enforcement for the cybersecurity world. We don't have as many rules and regulations as they do, but you know, that's kind of how it's going. The incident response planning, some of these things that we have to do, it's things that they're preparing for every day, but we're doing it in this digital world. And it's hard to fathom and to really convey sometimes, and it's why I'm here to try to convey it to you and get you in my little world.
Other comments? Commissioner Jelinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My comment is kind of the same as Commissioner Wilson, deals with cybersecurity, only because of what you just got done saying. You're kind of like the law enforcement of the computer, call it whatever you want to. Mm-hmm. The scary point is that we can do whatever we want to do, mm-hmm. and yet if we accept something, click into something, and if it goes unchecked by your staff or sneaks through some software that we have installed, mm-hmm. the ransom thing mm-hmm. scares me to no end, is that someone somewhere mm-hmm. can all of a sudden get a hold of the administrator, I'm guessing, and say, Mr. Administrator, we're holding all of your stuff until you pay us X, Y, mm-hmm. whatever that might be. That's truly a very scary thing. And of course, in a week, next month, doesn't make any difference. You'll be back again, and you will say, in order to beef up our security, it is going to cost X.
Yes.
And we're all going to look at one another and say, oh, that doesn't make any sense. We can't even see it.
Correct.
That's kind of all a scary thing, all in one big picture. We have to support the cybersecurity theory, mm-hmm. because if we don't, we have a tremendous disadvantage and a real ability to have our stuff lost or held again as ransom. Mm-hmm. And I really can't imagine Morrison County in the position to have to actually write out a check. However, as you can attest, many counties have had to do that in order to get their stuff back, correct?
Correct, and just a follow-up to that, I know the state of Minnesota doesn't have it yet, but they're looking at legislation to address that, and I believe I shared the article with you guys about Florida. They just implemented that as a statewide, was it a statute, or I'm not sure what it is, like a bill that they implemented. And then, so no public entity can pay a ransom. Private entities could still choose to pay a ransom, but they're not allowing public entities to utilize tax dollars to pay a ransom. So if, you know, Russia, China, somebody did hit us with ransomware, if you were in Florida, that at the current time, you just cannot. And if you lose all your data and have to start from scratch, you know, you sure hope you got good backups and good remediation processes in place and good consultants in place.
And that is what that means.
Yes.
Exactly what you said. If you're not going to pay, everything is gone.
Correct.
And I can't imagine what it is to rebuild. Unless you have, as you said, tremendous backups that it's all there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay, thank you.
Further comments? Further comments? Amy, I just want to take a second and say thank you for the time that you gave me when I'd come to your office. And also kudos to a couple of your staff who also took some time to educate me on some of the inner infrastructure that is a big part of what you guys do. And I'll look at this, gentlemen, with my analogy for IT's role within the organization is kind of like that pumping heart muscle within this organization, and we've got veins from that pumping heart that goes to every department and every action, basically, of what goes on with this organization. We can't, as a board, begin to fathom, to understand all of the things that you guys have to address. You know, it's our responsibility to at least try. But we put a lot of trust in you and your staff, and you haven't let us down. And we know that we're going to be dealing with some greater challenges here going forward, but we'll work with you and your staff to try and address these to protect the county, but also to serve our staff and of course the residents of the county as the in the end result there. So thank you for being here this morning and in your professionalism with all of us.
Yep, thank you, Commissioner Blaine, and I appreciated the time as well, and I'm sure you will be seeing lots more of me since cybersecurity is on the top of the list for legislation this year. So if you have nothing else for me.
We wish you a great day.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, Ms. Amy.
Gentlemen, next on the agenda is the auditor's report. Chelsea, good morning.
Morning, Chelsea.
Morning, Chelsea.
Chelsea, good morning.
All right, first on the agenda I have for you is something a little bit different. I have a contract, which is an update for our property tax online and phone payment for taxpayers. So currently we have the option for taxpayers to pay their property tax over the phone or online with credit card, debit card, or an electronic check. And so this first page here is just kind of a summary. Morrison County uses ACI as a vendor to process electronic checks, debit and credit card transactions for property tax payments online or over the phone. This last year we noticed a large increase in fees, which is assigned to the taxpayer by law. Since then, we've been in communication with our vendor to update our agreement and lower our fees. So here below is a summary of the differences of where we're at today with current fees and then proposed with the new agreement. So you can see the credit and debit card proposed fees is 2.70%. Right now, our credit is 3.30%. Our debit is 2.99. Electronic checks, we're currently at 2.90. And then there's thresholds depending on how much they're paying for property taxes, whereas the updated would be $1.95 for all payments regardless of amounts. And then our electronic checks, we currently have e-check choice, which doesn't perform any audits prior to payment going through online or over the phone. And so we're looking at upgrading to e-check Advantage, which is no cost to us, but it is a better product as the system will automatically check to see if the account number is entered correct and true, Most of our issues that we do have come from account numbers being entered with a mistake in it. And then if an account number has a positive balance at the time, or if the account is open and active versus closed. So this will help cut down the cost on some of our returns at the county level. So that's just a summary of the agreement behind.
Chelsea, thank you for your and your department's work on helping to lower these fees for the taxpayers in Morrison County. Gentlemen, wishes of the board.
I'll make a motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Second.
So there's a motion by Commissioner Lemire and a second by Commissioner Wincher to approve of the new proposed fees for residents in paying taxes online. This gentleman, any further discussion? Commissioner Wincher.
Thank you. And again, this proposal is to lower the fees, not correct. That's what I want to make sure that we have that on record.
Correct. This is to lower the cost for a taxpayer when they're paying electronically, by online, or over the phone.
Commissioner Jelinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chelsea, of 100% of the tax that comes to Morrison County, and I don't know that you have the answer, what's the percentage that is done electronically, like we're speaking of right now?
Sure, great question. I don't have the exact percent, but I did do a study with staff here. We pulled 2020 transaction summary report, and the annual volume was just under 1 million. So we had about 1,170 payments online. So that average for monthly volume is just a hair under 100 payments. But as far as a monthly high volume transaction, May is our first collection of property tax. And in 2020, we had roughly 382 transactions that month online. So it does get used. We have our average transaction amount for payment is roughly $935, and we do have some high transaction payment amounts over about $58,000. So it gets used from a small end scale of a smaller payment amount to a large end.
I'm very surprised, and that was a wonderful explanation. Thank you.
Further discussion? Further discussion?
I would just like to add, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Our initial contract was established in 2006 and was not revised since then. And so we had our contract in place, and then once it came up for renewal, it was just an annual renewal. And so this contract here is locked in for 5 years. So just to share with you.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, gentlemen, this is a roll call. Commissioner Wincher?
Aye.
Commissioner Jelinski?
Aye.
The chairman votes aye. Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Commissioner Lemire?
Aye.
This motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, I have the monthly cash report. This is for year-end December 31st, 2021. And then the next I have for the month end of January. So again, this is a monthly report that you receive. December is brought forward to now as January. We button up the year end, and it takes a little bit more time. So that's why you're seeing 2 reports here today. The difference, as you can see, again, our ARPA funds are in the revenue line, so that's why there's a bigger adjustment on that line item and then overall. And then just an update for you, we will be getting our second half payment for our final payment for ARPA funds in May of this year. So just an update on that. And then
Any questions on the cash report? Okay, thank you, Chelsea.
And next on the agenda, I have to approve payments.
Warrants?
Yes.
Gentlemen, is there a motion to approve the warrants?
Motion to pay all the bills.
There's a motion by Commissioner Wincher to pay all the bills. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? This is a roll call. Commissioner Jelinski?
Aye.
The chairman votes aye. Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Commissioner Lemire?
Aye.
Commissioner Wincher? Aye. All those voting aye, the motion prevails. Chelsea, anything else?
That is all I have for you today. I did want to follow up. I believe you had a question in regards to abatement
Please. Thank you.
for payments. So when there is a court judgment and abatement, just following up from earlier conversation, we issue the check directly to that company. So it doesn't go back onto their taxes, it's a check paid out to them. And then what we do is we offset that amount. So we'll pay it out now, and then we'll offset that dollar amount through our tax levy, or our taxes. When we have our spring tax collection come in, we'll then offset that from all the tax entities, and it will be a reduction. So it'll show a reduction of an abatement for tax court settlement. So it's not just affecting Morrison County as a whole, but all of our taxing government entities within the county.
So this abatement then forces you and your staff to make an adjustment to, because we are paying back money to those properties by court order, then we have to make that adjustment to all the rest of the taxpayers, correct? In 2022 to make that whole.
It's an adjustment based on the collection of taxes. So what we're collecting in, it's not to the specific to the individual taxpayer, but to the entity that is levying tax dollars. If that
I understand.
is clear.
Further questions?
I guess I got a question. Is that kind of about a % on our levy? Because this one here, 73,000, and we did one earlier. I don't recall what that amount was. So we're paying back, like, let's say $100,000. Now, so we're taking 100,000 out of our tax roll, and then the people that pay taxes have to make up that 100,000. That, because they're being taxed for it right now. No, their tax levy is what our bills are. So now we're getting $100,000 less money. So that means people's taxes could go up somewhat just because of that.
Correct. So as far as entities that are levying tax dollars, they're not getting their full percentage because of this abatement. It's a reduction on what their payment is.
Ongoing, it'll be what he says though, right? Because they'll be paying less taxes because their taxes were lowered for the coming years, correct?
This is going back.
That's what you're saying, though.
These are going back years that have already been paid.
Yes, but in the future, they're gonna be paying less taxes, right? Because of the assessment court said that they were being overtaxed.
That would be a call based on the state and what they're assessing the value. You know, is it gonna go up? Is it gonna go down? That is what the state determines, but ultimately it comes back on the counties and our local levy. You know, it's been a discussion, I think, with legislation before because we can't prepare for this, but it's been a hardship on some counties. You know, we're standing in good shape where we have a reserve and a fund balance, if you will, where other counties are strapped tight, and it can make a big difference depending on how many years it goes back and what the judge orders in the case.
And so, as was reported when Ms. Kowalczyk was here earlier this morning, this was a court judgment for the years 2017, 2018. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so So this isn't, it isn't like it's ongoing. This is a judgment on taxes that were paid 4 years ago.
That they were found that they were overpaying.
In those, in what they were,
So-
in what they were taxed in those 2 years.
So then, obviously, if they were overpaying, then they must have lowered their valuation down, the state, or the tax court.
Or do they go to court again to lower them again? That's probably the.
So-
I mean, it'd be foolish to increase the assessment on them again, because it's just gonna happen again. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know what you're saying, yep. And with, these are utility companies typically that argue with the tax being imposed on them by you know, local governments, county government in that sense. And they have that option to take issue with the county and take that and have that decided in court.
But you.
Commissioner Wilson.
You would think, though, that if the court says you're being taxed too much, then they'd be lowering that down to that level for the next 2 years, or that proportion, so that they're not constantly out of whack.
Yeah.
I would think, or I don't know, you know what they're being assessed, or don't you? I mean, can you see that? Do they bring it down then, like for 2020, 2021, or do they leave it up at that level and then go back to court in a couple of years?
I haven't,
Exactly.
that's a great question. I haven't looked at it that closely to see the trend. However, you know, when they're going to court, they're going to past years, and then they're getting a payment owed on that reduction for past years. What we do see across, you know, the whole entire state, not just in Morrison County, but these companies are, you know, getting a reduction for 2 years and then going back to court for the next 2 years and so forth. So it's just an ongoing cycle that we're seeing.
Commissioner Wincher.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Chelsea, but this has nothing to do with the county did. This has to do with the state. They figured these assessments, not us, so it's not a mistake that you as a, go out there, hey, we're gonna assess this. That's something that they did, and the counties are getting blindsided of this money that we have to pay back. And like you said, we're sitting pretty financially, but there's some, I think, that had to pay hundreds of thousands, if not more. And, you know, we got a big surplus in the state of Minnesota. Wonder if they'll send us any money to correct the mistake that they made, you know, so just a thought.
You are correct, Commissioner Wincher. It is the state that is assessing the property, and then the county is then correcting based on court order.
But on the other side,
Commissioner Wilson.
we collected more money than we should have, according to what their assessment. We can't lower their assessments on the property, so we have to do what the state says. So we've collected more than we were supposed to, according to the court.
Which we paid interest on. We're gonna have to pay that in penalties.
Well, I
probably.
agree. I
mean, it's not,
No, I don't agree with the process. I mean, I think they should correct it. If they said they're 10% over,
Yeah.
then drop it down 10% and stop going to court.
Yeah. That'd be an easy
that's the
thing,
way I
wouldn't
would
it?
do it. I agree, yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
But that ain't gonna happen.
No, we gotta go to court.
Yeah. Gotta spend that.
Any further discussion? Chelsea, have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Public Works. Good morning, Mr. Hennon.
Good morning.
Morning, Tony.
Morning, Tony.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Tony.
I have 3 items this morning. Our first item here is the request to approve the payment of the 2022 annual town road allotments. These funds are issued to the county for the distribution to the townships. The 2022 allotment to Morrison County for the townships is $822,315.
Gentlemen, I'll look for a motion.
I'll move on this, Mr. Chair.
There is a motion by Commissioner Jelinski. There's a second by
Second?
Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Gentlemen, this is a roll call. The chairman votes aye. Commissioner Wilson? Aye. Commissioner Lemire? Aye. Commissioner Wincher? Aye. Commissioner Jelinski?
Aye.
All those voting aye, the motion prevails.
Our second item this morning, we're asking to approve a resolution to distribute the Cleanup Day grants to the cities and townships and authorize the Public Works Director to execute these grants when the terms and conditions of the grant have been met.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Wincher. We have a second by Commissioner Lemire. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Gentlemen, this is a roll call vote. Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
Commissioner Lemire.
Aye.
Commissioner Wincher.
Aye.
Commissioner Jelinski.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
And our final item here is a similar item. We're requesting to approve a resolution to distribute the recycling grants to the cities and townships and authorize the Public Works Director to execute the grants when the terms and conditions of the grant have been met.
Wishes of the board.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jelinski. We have a second by Commissioner Wincher to approve the recycling day grants and cleanup grants. This also is a roll call vote. Commissioner Lemire.
Aye.
Commissioner Wincher.
Aye.
Commissioner Jelinski.
Aye.
The chairman votes aye. Commissioner Wilson. All those voting aye, this motion prevails. Anything else, Mr. Hennon?
No, sir.
Tony, have a wonderful day.
Nice seeing you, Tony.
Thank you,
Tony.
Commissioners.
Keep smiling.
Yes, sir.
Tony, you gonna be around?
I can be.
Well, I will call you when I'm done.
I'll just say.
Gentlemen, would you desire to take a quick break before we go into the administrator's report, or should we chug along?
How long are you talking, Matt?
I have one item.
Oh,
I think we can make it.
How about you?
We're gonna chug along.
You can make it, I can make it.
That's right. And pending your questions from the board. Gentlemen, Mr. Chair, good morning. One item to discuss today, received correspondence from Sourcewell. They have requested two of our elected officials to join them in the annual Students of Character celebration. That event is on the 20th of April. It is at 5 p.m. and it's hosted or held at the Town Hall in Maddens near Brainerd. This event it takes a moment to recognize two students from each of the 23 member school districts. And these two students are nominated for their contributions in quiet leadership. So I'm interested if any member of the board or two would like to attend this event. Again, that's the 20th of April at 5 p.m. in Maddens.
I would like to go.
Mr. Chair, I have a conflict. I will not be able to attend.
I can't make it.
Commissioner Wincher, it's up to.
I have a Northern Pines meeting at 9 on that day.
So, Mr. LeBlanc, the chairman will join Commissioner Wilson, and we'd be honored to be there to recognize, which will be a number of students then from Morrison County.
No, we don't recognize anybody. There's two students from each school district in the county that goes there, and they get recognized for some outstanding something, not sports, but something in their everyday life.
Leadership.
Yep. Well, just stuff in their life that they've overcome and this and that, and.
Could be drug overcome.
Yes, it could be a lot of things. Yeah.
But our role will be there to witness their recognition.
And we have our annual meeting, which takes about 5 minutes to approve that.
So.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Anything else that we can help you with?
If there are any questions from the board on anything you want to discuss, otherwise that concludes what I brought today.
Gentlemen, now's the time. Thoughts? Questions? Desires?
Mr. Chair, motion to adjourn.
Oh. I forgot we were jumping that gun.
And I'm ready. I'm actually ready, too.
Let's make him last.
Yeah, make me last. Please, make me last.
So gentlemen, now is the time we go through schedules.
What's the dates?
We're going to ask Ms. Tabitha to give us the dates that she would like us to cover.
February 13th through February 26th.
26, you said?
Yes.
I'll go ahead and go.
Go for it, Commissioner Wilson.
On the 15th, we've got planning session at 8:30. At 10 o'clock, we got a budget meeting. At 12:15, I've got department head. And I think we got planning board of adjustment that evening.
You mean community development?
What did I say?
Department head?
Oh, well, no, community development, yes. That's what I said. Let me see, I gotta get back to my monthly meetings here now. On the 16th at 1 o'clock, we got Ag Zoning District meeting. At 9:30, Mike and I have AIS grant application review.
On the 17th?
On the 17th, yep. On the 18th, I've got a virtual meeting with SCHSAC meeting. It's public health. On the 22nd, a board meeting. And then on the 25th, Mississippi Headwaters.
And that is where?
That's in Walker.
And then do you have airport on the 17th?
We do not.
I think I am. I think
Commissioner Lemire.
On the 16th, Public Health Advisory, virtual, 5 o'clock PM. On the 17th, the Long Prairie One Watershed One Plan at 9 o'clock, the Historic Courthouse in Todd County. And that's all I got to add.
Commissioner Wincher?
There's a Great River Regional meeting on the 15th at 5:30 in St. Cloud. On the 16th, I can't remember if anybody brought it, we have that ag zoning meeting here at the boardroom from 1 to 4. And on the 25th, I have a soil and water, 8 o'clock here, and that buttons me up.
Do you have TCC one of those weeks?
The TCC is gonna be on the 28th.
Okay.
Commissioner Jelinski,
And
now
Mr.
you can.
Mr. Chair,
now
my
let
turn?
her go.
My turn. On the 16th at 5 o'clock, I've got a Hands of Hope meeting. That should be virtual. On the 17th at 10 o'clock in the morning, I've got a Central Minnesota Emergency Services Board Owners and Operators Users Committee meeting. That's virtual. That's at 10 o'clock. On the 18th at 10:30 in the morning, I have a Public Safety Communications Conference Planning Committee meeting for the annual Public Safety Communications Conference. That will be virtual. On the 24th at 12:30 in the morning, or 12:30 in the afternoon rather, I have a State Emergency Communications Board meeting, SCCB meeting. That's virtual. That should be at 12:30, as I said. And Mr. Chair, believe it if you can, I didn't get to talk very much today on this one. I'm done.
Mr. Chair,
Well,
if I may, in that period of time, on the 21st, the Government Center will be closed in observance of President's Day.
Good.
thank you for that, Mr. LeBlanc. Tabitha, I have two things to add. On the 17th at 7 p.m., the Egg Society will meet, and they will meet here. And on Thursday, the 24th, at 6 p.m., I will be in Staples for the Region 5 Development Commission meeting. Is there any further business to come before this board this morning?
Mr. Chair, motion to adjourn.
There's a motion. Is there a second? And where there is a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.